And we had the opportunity to speak with former Senator and Mamamayang Liberal Party List First Nominee Leila de Lima to give us context on the impeachment and various issues. Let's tune into this. We have seen you very active on the political front. We have seen you file the first impeachment complaint. We have also seen you in several hearings, particularly at the Senate. You were beside the former president. It seems that you did not even take a personal break.
Yes, you can say that again, Gretchen. Okay, let me just clarify a bit. No, I'm not actually a complainant, but the designated spokesperson of the first group of complainants sa impeachment. The complaint was filed in December 2. And then I had several appearances before the Quad Committee hearings. Correct. Where magkatabi nga kami ng former president.
Okay, what is your reaction to how this impeachment complaint is being held and dealt with? It is with the Senate now. Kumbaga, nasa kanila na yung bola. And Senate President Chis Escudero has said that this could be tackled right after the State of the Nation address. We have to wait for 5 long months.
Yeah, okay. First, well, on the part of the first group of complainants, we were expecting actually the House of Representatives to act on the complaints early on, because that was filed in December 2, the first impeachment complainant. But they waited for when there was this Christmas break, and then when they resumed in January 13, we thought that's the first order of business that they would tackle, but it did not happen, and they did it on the last session day. So there was delay. But at least we're grateful, or we're glad that finally it was acted upon at the House level. And with that overwhelming vote, way beyond the 1/3 requirement of only 103 votes, and then it got 215 votes. But now we were also expecting that the Senate, at least before they went into this recess, they should have first acted on it. And I was reminding people, of course, about what the Constitution says. It's very clear in Article 11 of the Constitution, Section 3, Paragraph 4, that once the Senate receives the articles of impeachment from the House of Representatives, the Senate is supposed to conduct trial
Forthwith.
Shall forthwith. Trial shall forthwith proceed. Shall, mandatory terms, not optional, not discretionary. Now, forthwith, the dictionary says, is at once, immediately. So 5 months, 4 months, or 5 months is not immediately. And, the argument that they cannot tackle that when Congress is on break, when it is adjourned, when it is in recess, I think that can easily be refuted by the argument that in impeachment cases, the matter of impeachment, it does not fall under the legislative function of Congress. It is a special, non-legislative function. It's a mandate, special mandate. And that is why the provisions on impeachment are not found in the article, in the chapter or article in the Constitution on the legislative department. It is found under a separate article, which is Article 11, accountability of public officers. So that is a clear recognition by
that it is a separate
it's a separate function, and therefore the usual rules governing legislative work cannot apply to this. And given the urgency, given the importance of the matter, that should be given
so to your
utmost priority.
Understanding, even the Senate President has acknowledged that it will take time. For example, to first set the rules of the impeachment court, that's number one. The second would be getting an affidavit from the Vice President. She's given 10 days a response. A comment.
Yes.
And then there's also time needed to convene or to turn the Senate into an impeachment court. There's a pre-trial phase that needs to be held before the actual trial. So kumbaga parang matagal din at hindi rin sapat yung oras Kapag pinilit na ngayon, at kapag pinilit during the resumption of the sessions in June 2. So, hindi po ba talagang matagal yung proseso? And if the point is to hold a credible investigation, a credible impeachment trial, then doesn't it make sense to have that after the President's son?
Well, because it's a choice, Gretchen, between simulan na ngayon yung trial, tapusin bago yung next Congress, which is the 20th Congress.
Correct.
Or i-hold na muna, and then after the, sa next Congress na lang, or after the elections. Pero, hindi pa rin natin mawawala, tingnan dapat talaga yung nandun sa saligang batas. Yes, there might be some, the period, and there are ways to shorten those periods. Like, for example, the crafting of the rules. I don't think it will take days for that, the drafting of the rules. And then, syempre, yung pagpapa-comment sa respondent, si VP Sara, she can, of course, maximize that, and she will maximize that for 10 days. And then, after that, then bilisan yung iba pang mga proseso. But then, okay, if that is their mindset, na mabutin after the elections na lang, or then sa 20th Congress na lang, it will raise also certain constitutional issues. Although, I have a position on that, na pwede siguro yun, pwede pa yun, because again, on the same argument, that this is a special function, a duty of the Senate. But between now doing it and later, the complainants, of course, would prefer that it should be now. It should be ASAP.
Sabi nga nila, justice delayed is justice denied. If you have to wait for 5 months,
That's
right?
correct.
It's almost the same. Although ito political exercise ito, but if you apply it in a criminal or civil court,
Yes.
if you respond to a complaint 5 months later, parang ganon.
Yes.
Parang ganon.
That's correct. Justice delayed is justice denied. Accountability is still about exacting justice for the people, because the core ground there is betrayal of public trust.
Kayo po ay nakita namin sa Quadcom hearings.
Yes.
We saw you beside the president, former president. What was on your mind?
Well, actually, nung pagdating ko dun sa session room na yon, hearing room, is nakita ko siyempre kaagad na magkatabi yung aming nameplate, although he was not yet there. And I was just asking myself, kanino kayang pakana ito? Whose idea was this? And then I even thought na, siguro sinadya talaga nila yan. Maybe they're expecting some spectacle. And the spectacle did happen. But of course, I was calm. I really was calm. And I made sure that I would remain calm.
I want to get you to react
Okay.
to a video of the president because we had the national campaign kick-off.
Wala sa kanila ang may bahid ng dugo dahil sa tukhang. Wala sa kanilang kasabwat sa pagbulsa ng sako-sakong pera, pinagsamantalaan ang krisis ng pandemya, pinabayaan ang ating mga kababayan na magkasakit at mamatay.
Two things. Immediate reaction, Gretchen. Number one, medyo naiiba ngayon yung stance ni President Marcos Jr., ni PBBM. Kasi we know him to be, conflict averse. As much as possible, wala siyang mga ganyan na mga bombastic stance. So if I'm not mistaken, that's the first time that we're seeing him like that. So pagbabago yan. Pangalawa, klarado na yung kanyang mga sinasabi, patama dun sa isang kampo, sa mga Duterte. Kasi yung mga in-enumerate niya, yun ang mga kasalanan ng Duterte administration, right? Yung violent war on drugs, and then yung corruption during the pandemic, and then yung sa China. So, klarado na ito, parang sinasabi niya sa taong bayan, ito yung mga issues na kailangan yung tingnan, kailangan yung dibdibin, na yan yung mga ginawa, maling mga ginawa ng dating administrasyon. So kami ngayon, meron kaming slate na gano'n, inisa-isa niya na wala daw sa kanyang mga bets ang merong gano'n. But of course, let's see. I think I cannot, if we have to really examine the records of each of those mga administration best. I don't know.
And I wanted to ask about that actually because he was referring to his candidates
Yes.
in the administration slate, Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas, and they're not new names. In fact, there were also members of that slate who clapped for the former president in his war on drugs.
Kaya nga, so that's why I cannot really say categorically now na tama, yung talagang tama lahat yung sinabi na eto, tingnan nyo yung mga kandidato, wala ni isa sa kanila. I think that's in absolute terms and baka it might be inaccurate if we look at each of these candidates. But I'm not ready to point out or to pinpoint any of them who can be considered as not really falling within those if we call it criteria. Basta ang klarado, talagang again, mas malinaw sa atin ngayon na talagang meron ng break-up, na talagang nag-aaway na talaga sila ng matindi. And sigurado, sasagutin din sila ng kabilang kampo, lalo na kung ipipresent na officially yung kandidato ng mga naka-align kay dating Pangulong Duterte. So we are seeing more of that. Pero at least nakakagulat din ng konti. Now, it's a well-crafted speech actually. Even yung Tagalog maganda and maganda yung pagkakalatag.
As first nominee of the ML,
Yes.
what would be your personal priority? What reforms are you looking to institute?
Okay. It will be, of course, on a sector basis. We have identified, actually, ML as a party list, and including myself, those would be my priorities. We have identified priority legislations for each of these sectors. We also identified certain priority legislations for the whole sector, like, for example, we hope to push for the enactment of the People's Participation and Empowerment Bill, because to strengthen, to promote the voice of the marginalized sectors in the local government councils. And of course, as a human rights advocate, justice and social justice advocate, is that I'm still going to push for human rights-based legislations like the anti-EJK law, like the Human Rights Defenders Protection Bill, and then also prison reform, correctional system reform bill, and then the political party reform bill, addressing turncoatism, and then
Masusolusyonan po ba yan? Matagal-tagal?
susubukan natin, Gretchen. It's just like the
Where can
political
we find
dynasties.
incentive for our lawmakers to actually act on that? It is like the political dynasty, anti-political dynasty bill, right?
We would just have to build on the very principles behind it, the very philosophy behind laws like that. Those are very difficult, tough legislations to push. But hope springs eternal. Kasi kailangan yung mga ganong reform. Even the party list system law, kailangan din ng amendments, kailangan din ng reform para hindi siya naabuso, hindi siya nababastardize, para siguraduhin na yung mga party list ay truly and genuinely working for the interests of the marginalized sectors and not for any other political agenda.
Well, you talked about human rights.
Yes.
And right after you got your freedom, did it surprise you how things have changed under the Marcos administration? Them pivoting from the drug war of the Duterte administration, them actually being open to an ICC, to the ICC investigation, although even if they constantly say that they have no jurisdiction over the Philippines, the latest statement
Yes.
by the DOJ is that they might entertain the Interpol out of comity, out of friendship.
Yes.
And the Philippines will act favorably or positively to a request by the ICC to take custody of any person in relation to its investigation of crimes against humanity in former President Rodrigo Duterte's bloody war on drugs. That was the executive, and that was ES Lucas Bersamin.
Yeah. We are...
Nagulat po ba kayo?
Let me, okay. Nung pumasok na nga yung BBM administration, BBM presidency, I think there are certain sectors who are expecting that it will be again still about youth authoritarianism, because it was previously the previous administration restored authoritarianism. We had that during the Marcos Sr. Presidency, the martial law and that. So akala natin since yung anak ng diktador ay presidente, ganun pa rin. Kasi si Mr. Duterte actually restored authoritarianism. Being strong leader na mga ganyan, na kahit mali yung mga naging polisiya niya, na grabe yung mga violations on human rights. Now, but then, we're a bit surprised that it's not that. I mean, there's no showing of authoritarianism on the part of this administration. But maybe it's still early to have such a definitive impression of what exactly the BBM presidency stands for. But then again, at least, as you said, yung sa drug war policy, there's a clear shift from violence, from killings, thousands of Filipinos killed, suspected drug addicts and drug pushers, certainly crimes against humanity, and they have shifted now to the more humane and health-based approach, rehabilitation of drug personalities, drug suspects. So that's of course good, and the change also in their stance from the position of not recognizing the jurisdiction of the ICC and no cooperation at all with the ICC investigators. As you mentioned, meron ng ganon na inclination to help out, to assist ICC, especially kung meron ng warrants of arrest. So, maganda yung ganon. But of course, meron pa rin mga problems like the red tagging. There's still red tagging of certain groups of certain personalities, which is not good because it actually taints democracy. It puts at risk the life and security of those being red tagged. Kaya nga, personally, I've been pushing for the abolition of the NTF-ELCAC. Kasi sila yung mahilig mag-red tag.
You were very much vilified and demonized in the past administration, not just on television, but also on social media.
Yes, especially
when
social media.
When you see your colleagues in the Senate, in the House, those who even spoke against you, what do you feel? Like, how do you talk to them now?
Of course,
especially many of them also have turned against the former president.
Yes, well, I try always to be very civil when it comes to dealing with personalities like that. Half of me would tell me that I think they had no choice. Because you see, precisely one of the reasons why they did that to me, they jailed me, is because they wanted to make an example out of me. So that others who would be opposing also the wrong policies of Mr. Duterte would keep quiet, and that exactly what they did. And so I would understand that. But then again, syempre wala akong respeto sa mga ganon. But I just don't show it to them. But deep inside me, I have little, if no respect
yun na po
at all.
sila.
Yes.
CPRRD na lang ang hindi.
Yes, Gretchen, that's correct. I still cannot find strength in me to forgive him.
Do you recommend reopening the investigation into the drug war at the congressional level, the way that they have done the Quadcom hearings?
They can always continue with that. Although,
doesn't it jeopardize the safety of those who will testify?
Well, at least compared during the Duterte administration, when most witnesses, if not all possible or probable witnesses, were really hesitant and scared to go public. Nakita naman natin na sa Quadcom may mga ilan-ilan na mga lumantad, like si Royina Garma and several others, sila Asherto. So siguro kung ipapagpapatuloy yan, meron pa na mga lalantad dyan and tell us more about what happened exactly during the war on drugs. So pwede pa. Although, ang pinakamas importante than the congressional hearings are the criminal proceedings. And that's why the ICC had to intervene. Kasi wala silang nakita na seryosong investigasyon dun sa culpability ni Mr. Duterte and ni former PNP chief, now Senator Bato de la Rosa. And that is also the focus always of an ICC investigation.
And if they will reopen this local investigation into the war on drugs, it might cause the ICC to step back.
Well, not really. It depends on, kasi depende pa rin yan sa magiging
klase ng investigasyon.
Klase ng investigation. Kung nakikita ng ICC na hindi naman sila ganon ka-desidido at hindi naman sila ganon kaseryoso at nahihirapan tungkol sa pagpapanagot kay Mr. Duterte and kay Bato de la Rosa, nandyan pa rin ang ICC because of the complementarity principle. Because I think the domestic mechanisms of accountability, the domestic criminal proceedings, pwede sila at kayang-kaya nila yung mga middle-level officers lang ng PNP and all the way down dun sa mga low-level perpetrators. Yung mga bumaril talaga, yung mga members ng mga PNP death squad. Kaya yan panagutin sa domestic mechanisms, criminal justice system natin. Pero in so far as those with the highest responsibility, the mastermind, and the chief enforcer.
It is the ICC.
ICC ang mas merong
Do
kakayahan.
you think the victims will have a real chance at justice? Can get justice?
I suppose, I definitely think so. In fact, on the part of the families of the EJK victims, to them, because I've been talking to some of them, to them, the ICC is their only only hope, the best hope for them. So yes.
So they're banking on this investigation.
They're banking on the ICC investigation.
You were in detention for 2,454 days.
Yes.
6 years, 8 months, 21 days to be exact.
Yes.
You've been Justice Secretary and you've been on the other end of that stick. What would you change in the justice system if you were given a chance?
Okay, first of all, to me, I believe that what is crucial is appointing the right men and women in the judiciary. Those are capable, those are worthy, and those with high sense of independence. Because the judicial system can truly work if the members of the judiciary have a high sense of independence, that they are immune from improper influence, undue influence, from political pressure.
And that was my sit down with former Senator and Mamamayang Liberal Party List First Nominee Leila de Lima.